First, tell me your name.
Joe Anthony Strada.
And where were you born, Joe?
I was born in what you call the bottom. But
The bottom.
in
Was that Burleson, Texas, or was it, were you just in the bottom?
And just in the bottom, right here, about 4.5 miles from here.
Was it to Mumford, or was it?
No, it's the way this side of Mumford. It's on the on Highway 50. It's about 4.5 miles from here.
And tell me, what did your dad do?
He farmed
He farmed that
all
part?
of his life. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And tell me, at that time, did you help him on the farm? Or?
Yes. When I was a junior in high school, I knew what I had to do because my dad had a bad heart attack, and he had an enlarged heart, and he couldn't do nothing. And when I came in from school, I had to get on the. I used to have before we had the mules before.
Oh man. Mm-hmm.
Then we got a tractor. We traded the mules in for a two-row tractor. It was a 25. My God, a lawnmower got more horsepower than the tractor. And I farmed with that. When I got in from school, started getting homework, I was on the tractor getting work, driving, applying cotton and planting cotton and putting up rows and all of that kind of stuff. When I got out of high school, then I was a full-time farmer then.
Did you go to St. Anthony's, or did you come to church in Hearn?
We used to go, when my dad was alive, we didn't have a church here in what's called, in Robertson County.
Yes, sir.
We used to go to St.
Anthony's or
St. Anthony's in Bryan, yeah.
St. Anthony's, yes.
Yeah.
And were you married at St. Anthony's?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And most of the Poggioreale people were married at St. Anthony's.
Right, right.
And
as soon as we got married, we got out of the church, and Father Bravos said, "You owe me $50."
sounds like Father Bro. Now, through your life, did you mostly farm?
All of my life I farmed.
All your life?
All of my life.
And did you sell your land, or do you still have
No, I still got it. We just got a little postage stamp. We just got 100 acres.
Yes, sir. Tell me, you said that in your lifetime you only visited Poggioreale one time. Tell me about that.
I got the film I was going to show.
Yes, sir, but you were going to tell me the story. You know?
Okay, we went the bank trip. It was a bank trip. They told us, we're going to Italy. And Anna said, "Well, let's go." And at that time, Ross, it didn't cost what it cost us $3,000 to
For
go.
both of us.
And we stayed in Italy damn near a month.
Wow.
21 days.
Wow.
So we go to Italy. We go all the way from Rome. We landed in Rome. We go from Rome all the way up to Switzerland. We go to Switzerland. All right, we come back to Rome. Then we got on an airplane, and then we went to Sicily. So we was in Sicily, and the man says, the bus, we rode the bus all that way. Everywhere we went, we rode the bus. So he said we was gonna go to some little island, but it was closed then. So he said, "Well, we'll go somewhere else. Where y'all want to go?" So we said, everybody said, "We want to go to Poggioreale." So we did. We went to Poggioreale. But before we went to Poggioreale, we went to Isle Capri. And Isle Capri is way on top of a mountain. They got a road that we put it on the side of that hill to go up around that mountain. We got in the bus. Anna was sitting next to the window. We got halfway down, and all you could see was water down there. She said, "Hey, you sit over here. Let me move back over there." Like if the bus failed, she wasn't gonna fall with it.
Made her feel better there. Tell me, did you go to Old Poggioreale? Tell me what it was like.
Yeah, well, we went to first we went to New Poggioreale.
Yes, sir.
And we met the mayor. Her name was Kathleen Tusser, and she could speak better English than we could.
Oh my goodness.
So there was this Tony Falco that still lived there in Poggioreale. Sarah, she's Ferrara now, but she was Savaggio. And her mama was a Falco. So he took us to Old Poggioreale, where the earthquake had. And he showed Sarah where her grandma and grandpa used to live, in Poggioreale. And there was a house way back in what's called, and he said that's where your grandpa used to live.
Oh my goodness. What did it make you
My
feel?
grandpa Messina, not my grandpa Strada, but my grandpa Messina. We come from Poggioreale, we go back to the new one, and then we seen all of this, everything inside the mayor's office. And there was a plaque hanging up on the mayor's office. And it had the servicemen, and it had Joseph Strada. You know, our last name is not Stratta, it's Strada.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how it got all screwed up, but it did. And that's where we went to Poggioreale.
Did it mean a lot to you? Did it?
Oh, yes, it did. I guarantee it did. I never in my whole life ever thought I'd ever go in to see where my daddy was born. Yes, sir. I would never forget that as long as I live.
Tell me what you remember of your dad coming from Poggioreale. You told me.
I don't. The only thing I remember.
Well, the stories, as I'm saying.
The only thing I can really remember is my daddy going to get his citizenship paper in Waco.
He did.
Yeah.
He became a citizen.
Yeah.
And then you said he came through came through New York, right? Did your dad come through New York?
No.
Where he came through New Orleans?
He came to New Orleans.
Okay. And did he come by himself, or did he bring his whole family?
No. I'm telling you, Grandma and her and five kids came on the boat by themselves.
And your dad was how old?
My daddy was there on the boat.
Okay. How old was he at the time he came?
He was 2 years old when he came here.
Okay. So he came as a family with your whole family.
Right, right.
And then most everyone went to the same farm out, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell them about Uncle Joe Strada and your daddy were brothers, and they married sisters.
Strada, they did. They married sisters. They married my Aunt Annie and then my mother, Bessie. And what used to tickle me, when the weather used to get bad, my mother used to get up and walk the floor. My daddy used to tell her, Bessie, go to bed. If God wants you, He's going to get you whether you walk the floor or whether you're in bed. I never will forget this. The only thing I ever just remember was just going to my grandparents' house, either one of them, and both of them, that's all they was talking about was Poggioreale. You know, my grandpa Messina says the reason why they came here, they used to have, they had a 3-acre farm. And in the mornings when he would go walk, he would go, they didn't have no mules or nothing. They just, he said they would walk, he would walk to the farm, and he would see the dead people on the side of the road with no shoes, no clothes on, somebody done robbed them. So he says, he told my grandma, he said, everybody else done gone to the new country, and let's go to the new country.
And that's when they decided to come.
That's when they came. Now, I don't know, when they came, they had 2 kids. They had Uncle Frank and Uncle Robert. That's the 2 kids. And they landed in New Orleans, and they got a job in the cane factory, plant, cutting cane, sugar cane.
Then how did they decide to come here? How did they decide to come from New Orleans to here?
I have no, well, they had friends, and they had friends in Navasota.
Oh, I see.
They went to Navasota first. And the flood flooded them out twice, 2 times in a year, and they left there. They came over here. And that's why they got the land over here. They had the land over
They
here.
did better. Well, I know when I walked into Poggioreale, like you said, Old Town Poggioreale, and saw the water fountain that Papa John had talked to me about, and the steps, it meant a lot to me too. You know, it surprised me how much it meant to me. I was really shocked. You know, and I'm sure that your history is much like mine.
Yeah.
I think our people are from there all the way back to as long as they kept records. You know, I can't imagine them being
Yeah,
anywhere
yeah.
else. You know.
They would go